Shalom, brothers and sisters. Welcome and thank you again for joining me. I hope all of you had a restful weekend and that you have a restful Shabbat. In this episode, I want to continue our discussion on America's Last Stand and what we are seeing taking place and will continue to get progressively worse. As I've said in previous videos, none of this is going to get better. It is only going to get worse. And those that have the Ruach HaKodesh, those that are in the Word and following the Most High with His laws, statutes, and commands, that is the best way to know what to do next. It is the best way to protect yourself and your family. The previous video that I did of America's Last Stand was discussing what is taking place in the Caribbean and Central and South America. In this video, in this episode, I want to go over what is taking place and what will be taking place across America, specifically the major cities, Washington, D.C., Chicago, Los Angeles, Oakland, Baltimore, New York, and so on. Because what we are seeing is the deployment of the military with rifles, with pew-pews, in cities, walking around. And on one side, you can say that this is good because it's going to help to deter crime. Criminals will be arrested, and it will make our city safer. And that, in a sense, is true, yes. That definitely can deter criminals from coming out when there's a bunch of members of the military walking around with pew-pews openly, military vehicles driving around the city. Yes, that can definitely help to deter crime. But what it's also doing is that it is desensitizing American citizens to having the military on the streets and policing them. And that is part of what all of this is about. It's the desensitization of the public to accept the military in their daily lives. That's what this is. That is a part of what it is. And in the previous video, America's Last Stand, I mentioned at the end of that episode that Kristi Noem, the head of Homeland Security, has painted the border wall, the southern border wall on the American side, she's painted it black. And the question that I asked was, why would the wall on the American side be painted black if the end goal is to prevent people from coming into the country? Because according to her, by painting the wall black, the wall is hot, or it's hotter, and it's going to be difficult to climb. And yet this is being done on the American side. And as I said in the video, the border wall that keeps you in America, the purpose of that border wall is to keep people in America. It is to prevent people from leaving America, because people are going to want to leave with what they are about to see, what they are about to experience. They're going to want to leave the United States of America and go elsewhere. That is also the reason why the Trump administration, the current administration, has deployed military vessels around the waters of the United States, in the waters of the United States surrounding America. And I mentioned that also in the video, is that they're going to have vessels. They're going to have ships that is going to be monitoring the waters of the United States to prevent people from leaving. And again, there are going to be some that will say, it's good that we're patrolling our waters. We need to know who is coming into our country. But the real purpose of that is twofold. It's to prevent people from leaving. So, the southern border wall has been painted black. It makes it more difficult for people to scale the wall and get over the wall into Mexico. On the Mexican side, from what I understand, it is not painted black. Now you also have military vessels and ships patrolling the waters of the United States. And now you have the deployment of soldiers being done in major American cities. They have already deployed in Washington, D.C. They are deploying in Chicago. They have plans for Baltimore, New York, Los Angeles, Oakland, and so on. As time goes on, it's going to be more and more cities that they will be deploying their soldiers. And you may ask, well, why is that? What is the purpose of doing it? Isn't it to keep the citizens safe? Isn't it to keep the residents of those cities safe? And as I said earlier, that is a part of it. Yes, that is on the surface. That's the surface reasoning. That is what's being told to people. But that is not the real reason. As I've mentioned in another previous video, America is broke. It is just for that purpose, because America is broke. and what they're about to do in America. They know that they need to have soldiers on the ground to have a controlled citizen population. That will not be able to interfere with what they are trying to accomplish. And that is going to be rounding people up and disappearing them. There are people that you will not see again. They're starting with the homeless. They're telling you that they're starting with these criminals. They're starting with people that they say are a nuisance, people that have mental health concerns. That is who they're starting with. And there is also going to be a push to criminalize as many people as possible in these cities. All of these gang members, they're coming for you. It's easy pickings. And once they criminalize you, they can choose to get free labor. They can choose to disappear you. Just a few weeks ago, the CEO of the United States said that law enforcement can do whatever they want now. They don't need to hold back. Do you remember that? And I mentioned in the previous video, America's Last Stand, that I'm reading the book of Joshua. In the book of Joshua, the Most High came down and spoke to Methuselah and Noah and said, listen, I'm going to be destroying the earth with a flood, but I'm willing to turn back my anger if they just repent. I'm going to give 120 years to allow man to repent so that I don't have to come down here and flood the earth. And when the Most High saw how man was continuing and going on, he commissioned Noah to build the ark, which he did in 5 years. And we're not going to be getting 120 years of warning the wicked, of warning the heathen of what is about to come and grip them and take hold of them. They're not going to get 120 years. Man used to live 800, 900 years. 120 years, if I was to do the math for the lifespan that we have, is probably comparative, 5 to 10 years? if I was to work out what 120 years would be in a lifespan of today, they're going to come into the cities and start disappearing people. They're going to tell the citizens of America that they cannot move past a certain time. They're going to tell the citizens of America that they need to move during a certain time. They're going to set up checkpoints. They're going to ask you for your papers. They're going to ask you for your ID. And if you don't have any ID, they will detain you. They're going to start coming into people's homes and searching for individuals without a warrant. With their faces covered. And that is the military soldiers and law enforcement. Soon you won't be able to tell the difference between just the regular police of the city and the military soldiers. You're not going to be able to tell the difference. Do not be surprised if you suddenly see that the uniforms of the military and the police change to one, meaning that they both start wearing the same type of uniform. Don't be surprised. What they're about to do is to lock down the United States. And they need to start at the major cities. And it'll just expand out. It'll be statewide. It'll be regional. It will be national. If you want to leave, they're going to tell you that you can't go nowhere. They're going to tell you that you need to turn back and go back to your home. And if you don't do that, they're going to disappear you. That's right. They're going to detain you, and your family and your friends will be asking, where are they? And they're not going to give you an answer. They're going to move them around to different states. They might ship them out of the country. They might put them on a plantation, what we now know or modern day call a farm, to work for free. And that is called captivity. Because America is broke. They need the apples picked. They need the carrots pulled out the ground. They need the cabbage and lettuce cut, cleaned, and packaged. They need someone to do it, because the promises that were made to the American people was that they are going to be deporting illegal residents. People who are in the country illegally, they are going to be deporting them. And if they are not deported, the reason is because their employer has provided surety that they are responsible for them. So now that employee is bound to the employer. Doesn't that sound like slavery to you? And that's the only way that that person can stay in the United States. When the citizens say that I'm not going back to my house, I'm leaving, I have a home in another country, I have another passport, I'm a dual citizen, I'm leaving, you can't stop me. That's not going to matter. Because they'll have martial law and they're going to tell you that they don't care, that you need to turn around and you need to go back to your home. And they already ran their test case of how most people will respond during the time of taking an injection, during the time of candy lovers wanting some sweets, some sugars injected into them. From 2020 until about 2022, 2023, depending on where you were located in the world, they already ran a test case, a scenario, to see how people would react. And they have determined that the majority of people at first will comply. Once they have the majority of people locked down in their homes, do not be surprised if they run the same scenario again of sending people funds into their account. Do not be surprised. Because there's people who are bus drivers, construction workers, there's people that work in the trades. They need to leave their home every day. Nurses, doctors. Only the essential jobs, the people who work those jobs will be able to leave. But again, it's only during a certain time, and you're going to have to show your papers. You're going to have to show your ID. If you don't have that type of job, then the expectation would be that you are going to be staying home. So again, the lie that is being told is that it's to fight crime. but that's not the reason for it. There is a change that has taken place in the spiritual realm concerning time, concerning the speed of time, the value of time, and the changing of one age to another. The power that these heathens have had, that they get guaranteed results with doing whatever they want and being successful, is over. And they know it. They know that America is done and it's not coming back. And they know right now that since America is broke, that they need to have a controlled demolition of the American system. And part of that is to control the population and to keep them inside while they do whatever it is that they plan to do. Most people, that if I said this to most people, they would not believe me. If I just went on to a major city and said all these things, people would look at me suspiciously and they would say that what I'm saying is not going to happen. But this is exactly what's going to happen. And if you have ears to hear, if you have eyes to see, if you are fasting and praying and spending time with Yahuwah, you know when you're hearing the truth. Time is cyclical. It is cyclical. It will repeat itself. There are certain events that need to happen that have happened already in the past. Because it follows the same storyline. And whether it happened in ancient times or it's happening in present day, certain things need to take place before Yahusha returns. So the story of wickedness being cleansed from the earth and the Most High coming down to see his creation and destroying it. It has happened many times. It's just that this time it is going to be worldwide, like in the time of Noah. And instead of water, there is going to be fire. There is going to be all different types of plagues that will accompany this destruction. And the purpose of this destruction is because of what these nations and people have done to the Most High's children. There is always an answer that needs to be given for wickedness. Remember that. There is always an answer that has to be given to the Most High for wickedness. And when the Most High says repent, it is because what is about to happen is unlike anything that is going to happen again. The fall of the United States of America that we are all witnessing is judgment. The nation has not repented. The leaders of the nation, Edom, and all those that conspire with Edom, have refused to repent. The CEO of the United States is now trying to make a case that slavery was not that bad. He's now trying to go into the Smithsonian and rewrite our history as Black people. Hell is hot, and the Most High is returning very soon, and that is why you're seeing this. These people are done. Their blessing is over. It's gone. It is not coming back. It will never come back. What I discussed in the first episode of this series, America's Last Stand, is that America is going all around the world and trying to use their military force to control nations and people in an attempt to get their hands on resources, to create discord in regions so that they can take advantage of the discord and get their hands on resources. Because economically, America can no longer compete. They are the most indebted nation in the world, and there is absolutely no way that they'll be able to pay off their debt. So they need to concoct a story of why they need to have their military in the Caribbean, in Central and South America, and in major American cities. They have to come up with a story. So the story outwardly in the Caribbean and Central and South America is to stop the flow of illegal substances. The story now for all major American cities is to stop criminality, to lower crime. And the story that they will be using in Africa, because that's the next destination, is that they need to stop the corruption of leaders and they need to stabilize the region. It's the same playbook. They don't have any tricks up their sleeves that we don't know about. It's going to be the same story. Yes, in Africa, they need to stabilize the region. The leader is corrupt. But the problem they will have as time goes on is that it's going to be very clear to the world that what they're saying doesn't make any sense, because they won't be able to explain why a European country was able to stay in an African country for 100+ years and did not build pretty much any roads, did not establish any hospitals, why the deals that were made only benefited the European countries and left a resource-rich African country poor. They're not going to be able to explain that or defend that. And these are questions that African leaders, intellectuals, politicians, activists, and regular citizens will be asking. These are questions that reporters will be asking. In America, they are not going to be able to explain why crime has went down before the military was deployed. And if the crime has went down, why are they now deploying the military? If the crime has went down over the last 5 years in most of these cities, that the CEO of the United States is deploying troops, why is it being done now? And if you notice, they're not giving a direct answer. And they're not going to give a direct answer because they can't answer that question, and they know that the reason why they're doing it has nothing to do with bringing crime down. Just think about all of the resources and the money that is being spent to deploy all of these military members, all of these soldiers throughout the United States. And yet they refuse to use all of that money to house the homeless, to take care of the mentally ill, to provide for the widows and the single mothers, for the children and for the elderly. All of the billions and billions of dollars, once this is added up, would have been enough to take care of all of these people with these circumstances. But they're not going to do that because these people are wicked. They're doing it because they have plans for something else. There are people that have already experienced their family member leaving the home in the morning and never returning. The person was disappeared and they were sent to their country of origin, or they're sent to another country, and they use the excuse it's for immigration. The person was here illegally. And that story is going to become more and more common, not with so-called illegal immigrants is going to be American citizens and legal residents of America. Yes, that is correct. They're going to leave their home, American born. 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th generation, American born, is going to leave their house and never be seen again. They have to get free labor. They have to get the American citizen onto the plantation. And doing that means they have to somehow criminalize each person. And their desperation is going to increase that they're not even going to criminalize the person. They're just going to disappear them and put them on a farm or put them wherever or send them wherever because of their desperation. They're going to start just skipping the step of trying to criminalize the citizen. What you are hearing is real. What you are about to see is real. And many people are not going to understand what they're seeing in front of them. They're going to go back to the Constitution and they're going to start talking about the Constitution, that they are a citizen of the United States, and they're going to start talking about all of their rights, all of the Bill of Rights. We are past that. That doesn't matter to them anymore because America is broke. And they need to start selling off their citizens, placing their citizens into captivity to keep the corporation of America going a little bit longer, hoping that somehow, maybe, if they go just a few more years, that they can get back on top, that their dollar will bounce back, that bricks will fall apart. But none of that is going to happen. As I said, they are done. This is a downward slide that is unable to be stopped because the Most High has put it in place. There is nothing that they're going to be able to do to stop this. No matter how many citizens they disappear, no matter how many citizens they put to work on a farm, no matter how many citizens they arrest and criminalize and use for their own means, it doesn't matter what they do. No matter how many bank accounts of private citizens they loot, how many pews they find and take from private citizens, no matter how much property they take away from private citizens. I heard a story of a man not paying a $5,000 water bill in New York. and he lost his $800,000 house. That should tell you that all of this is a joke. These people are wicked. And what you're seeing is the fall and the judgment of Edom and all of those that have conspired with Edom against the Most High's people. They're not escaping this. And that's what you are going to start seeing. You're going to start seeing their fall. And you're going to know that you are seeing the end. The end of Babylon, the end of this wicked American empire, is when they start outright looting private citizens' bank accounts, their property, taking their pew-pews just because, and they were legally purchased, just taking things from the citizen. You will see that. That is what you are going to see. America was built on slavery. America cannot survive. It cannot prosper in a fair, international market economy. It cannot do it. America went from enslaving the black man and black woman to industrialization, to China creating cheap goods, to now tariffs, to try and recover what they have spent themselves into. And the Most High made sure that the American people and the American government became drunk off their own wickedness. They are done. If you are an American citizen and you are able to leave the United States, I think you should. All of those people who said that America is their land, all the black people that I've heard that have said America is their land, that they're indigenous to America, I will guarantee you that you are going to want to leave the same land that you said you are indigenous to. You want to know why? Because you're not indigenous to America. You are going to want to leave. Even if you don't want to admit it, right when you start seeing everything happening that is about to happen, the Most High Yahuwah is going to make people wake up and see the predicament and the trouble that has reached them. This is what is coming. These things have already been determined in the spiritual realm. It has already been written, noted, and set forth. And none of the Most High's word is going to return to him void. It will all be accomplished. Every single last one of his words, every single last word is going to be accomplished. The trouble that we are about to see in these major U.S. cities is going to grow. And it's going to overtake those that do not have a relationship with the Most High.